These people in Cornwall are celebrating their traditional summer festival, not the Brexit. They don't let politics spoil their good mood. Everyone has good reason to raise a glass, whether they won or lost the referendum. 56% of the people in this remote area on Britain's west coast voted to leave the EU. That's more than the country's average. In the harbour town of Newlyn, the fishermen in particular resent Brussels. They regard the EU fishing quotas as pure harassment. They say the French steal their fish, and now they finally have their sea back.
Bye-bye Brussels. Now we'll be able to spend our own money on what we want to. And we stop giving money to waste on all the things Brussels wastes their money on, the French farming industry, and we haven't seen anything out of it, of no benefit.
I was surprised at how many people did vote for out, and at the end of the day it worked. What happens from now on is, and nobody knows yet, it's early days. We'll see how it goes. It can't be any worse anyway.
Turbot, mackerel and cod. In Newlyn, everything revolves around fishing, as if there were no other issues in Europe. Even though the new ice flaking machine was paid for by EU subsidies, the workers here are relieved at the result of the referendum. They think the only ones who will be hurt are the bankers and bosses in London.
A lot of Londoners and big major cities want to stay in Europe, but it's obviously the fringe counties from the major cities which want out, because we're the ones which are struggling worse, and they seem to be getting everything. You know, it's a lot more. It should be a lot better for Cornwall, for definite, and especially for Newlyn.
Others are less optimistic. Alex Lake is bewildered. For more than 15 years, she has supervised EU projects in Cornwall. In that time, the EU has poured about €1 billion in subsidies into the region to fuel new economic fields like handicrafts, media, and the digital industry. Now, Alex is worried about more than her own job. She sees the rural region's whole structural transformation endangered.
So people often say, I haven't had any European funding, but we drive on European roads and we use a European airport, we use a European funded port, and you use superfast broadband for your website, which has been installed with European money. And so it's never directly given to an individual, but it pays for the structure, the infrastructure that allows you to do business with the rest of the world.
We drive to the neighbouring town Hale, where Alex works on a major EU project. Generating energy from the ocean, for example, with wave energy plants. Cornwall was to become a pioneer. The brand new technology park was opened only a few weeks ago. The EU provided €15 million in funding.
If the UK is out of Europe, remote regions like this will remain insignificant. There are bigger priorities to our UK government and the politicians that are in our UK government than a small region with a small population at the end of the country.
Most people in Newlyn don't see this danger. They're deeply embedded in their traditional way of life. Jamie McLean is a cook in his own restaurant. He voted for the Brexit because he expected that without EU fishing quotas and regulations, fish would become cheaper. But now he's not so certain.
To be honest, I think it came as a shock. I mean, I voted out, but I thought I'd be in a minority. So, for me personally, I was actually quite shocked by the outvote. I didn't actually think it would happen. I mean, I wouldn't describe myself as particularly happy about it. There's a lot of uncertainty. So now the hard work really begins. You know, yeah. I don't think it's natural. I don't think it's something to celebrate. It's something to think about and to start working towards the future.
It's clear what Cornwall's fishermen plan to do: work harder so they can export more fish to France and Spain without interference from Brussels.
Well, just hopefully everything's looked at a little bit more clear and a little bit more fairly. You know, actually somebody in our own country making the rules instead of somebody in another country, you know, making rules about some of the waters that they don't know nothing about. See what happens from here.
But the Brexit already has a downside for the fishermen. Newlands Harbour was going to be modernised with EU funding, and that won't be happening now.